I was going to ask you, Dan, where do you think hunting will be in 50 years from now?
It's a good question. Technology seems to be taking over. You know, even the Onyx, I think that made a huge difference in hunting.
Yeah.
Cell cams have made a huge difference. I don't think cell cams actually made a huge difference in kills, but there's this trend, kind of like you were talking about with those shows that were in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Changed everybody. Um, the cell cams, a lot of people have, from shows or from wherever, from people advertising that this is the way to hunt. Now I'm seeing a lot of these young people just go out and they throw out 20 cell cams or whatever, and it's a game for how many they can buy. And they just sit at home watching the cell cams like it's a video game. And when they hit a deer, they go out and they hunt, and they get one on a camera, and they rotate between cameras and hunt. And I think that the future of hunting is not looking all that great. But I do think that guys with skill will always get it done better than guys with technology to some degree. If you put them side by side with the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But really, people can buy their way to success now, which is sad. You can
Yeah.
buy yourself, a bunch of cameras, and you can buy yourself a bunch of tags. You can go to multiple states and stuff. And not that any of that's really bad. It's just, it's going to be different. And guys like me that came from hunting the hard way, without cell cams, without, you had to carry a map around to the property you're on, paper map, and look at it and learn the property. And you had to go out there and learn the property, the enemy, learn the land borders. That used to be a thing, is people used to always say, well, let me show you the land borders whenever you went looking at a
Yeah.
property. I mean, kids wouldn't even know what you're talking about nowadays.
Yeah.
And a landowner would give you permission. He'd walk the border with you. This is,
Yeah.
this is where my property lines are.
Mm-hmm.
But I would buy maps of all the properties. I still got maps in my garage, old
Right.
school map back in the day, of marshes and swamps and stuff. And matter of fact, a lot of them are black and white. They're so old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've the last couple. I got a piece of property in northern Ohio. I can hunt, and there's an older gentleman owns it. He's an old farmer, and when I got to his place, I haven't hunted there in a number of years, but when I got there, I had Onyx, and he's like, I'll meet you there, and I'll show you around the place. And he's like, and I was like, I got this app, I can just see where everything's at if you don't want to bother with it. Like, wow. He goes, yeah, I was going to show you where to go, but you got that taken care of better than I do, probably. I'm like, yeah. Um, do you could you do you think hunting will ever go away? Like, you think it'll ever get to where it'll be illegal, like it is in so many other
Uh,
countries?
it might. It's hard to say. Um, Actually, I think we could be in danger of stuff like that because of the political turmoil that's going on in this country. I think there's a lot of changes that are scary. I mean, when people are trying to change the Constitution, and they're getting away with it, stuff. They're when you're putting um, judges in the Supreme Court that are supposed to be there to read the Constitution and make laws based on what it reads, and they're literally running on the fact that they're going to try and change the Constitution. That's a scary thing. And you just see the way trends are going and stuff, and things are happening today that 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I would have never, ever believed it would ever happen. So I think the political trend is more likely to change hunting, because we could get a group that just kind of takes over this country that is more a tree hugger type.
Yeah. Yeah. I always think, like, I think when, like, um, my generation, I think we're safe from it not being legal, because
Mhm.
when I was young, there was still like that hunting camp atmosphere, and like almost everybody you knew um, had somebody that hunted in their family or something, um, and it was more of a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's like, I think the generation that's coming up now, um, I don't. I don't know if that's as thick as it was whenever I was growing up. So I'm like, that's where I could see it starting to be like, starting to get a little fuzzy. Is like once those kids, like my generation,
Mm-hmm.
people from say 30 to in their 30s, that generation kind of pushes through. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That it's just not. And like my parents, or my dad's generation, those people die off, and it's like ugh.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got some friends who aren't necessarily against hunting, but they don't hunt.
mhm.
Um, asked me to please not discuss hunting in front of their children because they don't. They're kids who are, I mean, like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
They're afraid that they'll be traumatized by
Mhm.
discussion of that or discussion of eating wild game. That and I'm like, they don't even know where wild game it comes from the store, Dan. They don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if they'd be traumatized by that, that's horrible. Because I mean, when I was a kid, I can remember being a young kid and running down and catching a pheasant as a little kid. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the picture of me with
Yeah.
that I caught.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I brought it home. My dad wrings its neck, and we eat it. That's what we
Yeah.
do. I mean, and there was no turmoil or you're like mortified or I
Mhm.
mean, people would raise bunnies and then it'd be a pet for a while, but then you'd eat it,
Yeah.
and that's the way farms have always worked. But now all of a sudden, these people got this psychology background from school or something where they believe that that's a traumatic thing and it'll make people into serial killers if they see you harvest an animal or something.
Mhm.
You know, one of these people I know, I mean, really thinks that his kid could become a serial killer if he sees a video of me killing an animal or something like that and enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me I'm supposed to, kneel down and cry and pray over these animals after I kill them and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
believe that's what God put them here for.
Right.
Here to be killed and eaten, and I'm sorry, but that's what it's about.
If you want to watch another video, click right here. But don't forget to subscribe before you leave.